Hey y'all, it's WebCamParrot here, and before I fully start this video, I need to give a little backstory. You know, whenever I'm just chilling with the boys in my Discord server, there are always 3 characters that we fanboy over that never got reappearances. Dominus, Mandrake, and the super weapon of the Old Gods, Mageddon. Mageddon was this immense villain that Grant Morrison spent 4 years hinting at, occasionally appearing here or there in odd comics with the most obscure references, before bringing his JLA run to a climactic conclusion. You can see the influence of this primordial annihilator throughout the entire comic line as the plot of each story becomes more and more chaotic, the heroes constantly pushed and pushed without reprieve, until by the end, I felt like Mageddon was even starting to affect me. Digging up all the back trails and hints at Mageddon felt like a puzzle, with most clues being incomprehensible for a lot of readers. But I've put them all together in this video to show you exactly why I enjoy Mageddon so much, and how terrifying he can be. It starts in Aztec, the Ultimate Man, a discontinued comic line by Grant Morrison. In it, we would see mentions of a shadow god. Aztec's goal, his entire motivation and mission, the thing he had trained for his entire life, for a coming menace. A dark god named Tezcatlipoca, which I hope I'm pronouncing right. This dark god, Tezcatlipoca, was going to crucify the world. The Aztec's helmet was created to face, kept safe and passed down through generations until the day Tezcatlipoca comes and digs graves for all of them. The Night Lord, the incarnation of centuries of hatred. Batman would get his first clue that this being was coming when he was told that the forces of darkness are real, the powers of evil very real. In a special event comic called Justice League Midsummer's Nightmare, we see a being called the No Man, an ancient controller whose sole existence was to stop the arrival of a fate that he would call the inevitable. A vision of the future showed him this, a horror beyond imagining, of thunder and fire from heaven itself, the arrival of the ultimate warbringer. To prepare, he joined his powers to Dr. Destiny, turning every human on Earth into a superhero, executed by a plan so immense that even the Book of Destiny could not record it, an event outside its pages. And this was only intended to be one line of defense against the Great Dragon. A planet, Wonderworld, was set up on the space-time frontier to combat its eventual arrival, populated by new god superweapons like Adam 1 and Glimmer. A world orbiting the bleed beyond time and space at hypertemporal speeds, unimaginable even to the Flash, waiting for a threat far older and far more terrible than Darkseid, the rise of the anti-sun Mageddon. A battle on a scale that Aquaman Kyle Rayner and Wally West could barely understand. In another storyline, we would see the Philosopher's Stone, also known as the Whirligog, an artifact that threatened all of space and time, the most powerful object in the universe, a fragment of the eternal source. It reflects all of creation, theoretically limitless in power, and without it, the Earth would easily be conquered by Darkseid. But even after retrieving it, Metron would tell them of a far greater threat, of ancient war machines of the old gods that tore the mother world apart into New Genesis and Apocalypse, that they must prepare for the fortification of the Earth. And then we get our first visual depiction of Mageddon. Adam 1 says that the Justice League were blind to the all-devouring nature it possesses. Orion and Big Barda are assigned as protectors of Earth to prepare for this oncoming threat, until eventually the primordial annihilator is here, a power beyond gods, destroyer of worlds, Mageddon. On Earth, its presence is felt in the form of a probe that Orion calls the evil of the Old Gods. A probe that drove all of Belrev Prison insane, even through heavy psychic shielding that even Hector Hammond couldn't breach. Suddenly, 2 wars begin within 5 minutes of each other. Mr. Miracle says that the fiery deaths of the new gods devastated creation, and it is a weapon from those primal times resurfaced. Wonderworld, the planet of superhuman gods, the world that had taken down an evil fifth-dimensional imp and numerous other immensely powerful beings, was eliminated virtually instantly by Mageddon. Mr. Miracle explains that the original world of the Old Gods, Urgund, from the universe before, that the only thing they know about their predecessors from this world is that they manufactured weapons beyond the comprehension of the new gods, that they tore infinity apart. Aztec wakes up from a nightmare. Tezcatlipoca, god of darkness and ruin, world-devouring sun, the mighty dragon slips its chains, 7 seals broken, humanity's twilight draws near. In heaven, the angelic host and the presence flee from its arrival, planning the architecture of a new creation should this one fall to the Warbringer. Superman says this could be the highest level threat they've ever had to face, and Batman recalls No Man's warnings of the superweapon. Of course, doomsday machines are Superman's forte, and if he can't stop the end of the world, who can? The chaos in the world ramps up as Mageddon draws closer. It makes people fight, it brings war and destruction. Even the usually order-obsessed control freak General Eiling is sent into a raving mess, saying that he will let it all burn. Wonder Woman, Orion, Big Barda, and Metron go to confront it, with Orion, most bestial, most martial of the new gods, sensing its primordial wrath like a thunder in his being, calling it a menace from beyond the source, his mother box struggling to contain his rage for cosmic destruction. Several civilizations have been wiped out already, and Earth is next. Behold, Mageddon. Another probe appears, this time attached to Lex Luthor, and it kills Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern ring. Conflicts are breaking out across the globe, and a TV reporter shoots himself on live television. Even in this small probe, Martian Manhunter detects a titanic presence. A great dark voice on the edge of nothing is speaking to the people of the universe, and said that they all had to die, and that there is no reason why. Aztec has seen its face, the burning shadow, and it saw him. Its core is an engine of mindless souls. Its brain is like a city, a world in flames. It cannot be argued with, it cannot be threatened. It will simply exterminate all of us. He saw its thoughts and was blinded in an instant. Mr. Miracle says that Aztec's people call it Tezcatlipoca, but that the new gods call it Mageddon, the primordial annihilator, and that it is not a god. It is a weapon capable of destroying gods. Cosmic Armageddon has come. The combined minds of Martian Manhunter and Lex Luthor is able to break the probe placed upon him, Kyle Rayner taunting Lex, saying that he is always calling himself the smartest man on Earth, but now he is losing respect for him because he's being outsmarted by a giant eyeball. Zoriel, servant of the Presence, sent to guard Earth specifically to face this threat, calls it the Great Dragon, the billion-eyed beast of the abyss, and that it does not have a living mind at all. Superman calls it the greatest threat of all, the worst foe they have ever faced. Bear in mind that this is the same Justice League that has faced down a Darkseid invasion, the Anti-Monitor, a war of fifth-dimensional imps, and a sorcerer threatening to unleash the anti-life equation, wiping out all life. Superman and Orion decide to boom tube inside of it, to face it directly. Orion in particular wants to test his fire against the terrible hammer of the Old Gods. Superman says that, however powerful it might be, it's still just a weapon, and it can be shut down. Even the cool-headed Kyle Rayner starts to feel the war fever, the Mageddon effect, and when he turns to look out into space, he sees it towering over the Earth. The Mageddon effect is only growing stronger. The US has declared war on China, Japan, Russia, and Europe. Buttons are pressed, nukes are launched. Martian Manhunter tries to reach Superman and Orion within Mageddon, as he felt them vanish beyond its psychic event horizon. He finds an emptiness there, for the Great Dragon has no real mind. Zor-El visits Heaven for aid by literally dying, and finds Heaven packing up its bags, with the Pax Day overseeing the architecture of a new universe. Heaven has abandoned creation to the primordial annihilator. Meanwhile, the Flash brings the last surviving resident of Wonderworld, the immensely powerful Glimmer, who had survived the assault by running perpendicular to time. Think of Glimmer as the Flash, but if he had been designed by gods and was 50 feet tall. The force allied against Mageddon consults Animal Man, and he reveals that Mageddon has been manipulating the red, the morphogenetic field, to activate certain parts of the brain to induce this warlike state, and Steele theorizes that it should be possible to interfere with this field, to shut down the Mageddon effect. Wonder Woman is reminded of the Nomad, who tried to transform the entire human race into metahumans in preparation of this threat. Animal Man tells her that it should be possible to not only counteract Mageddon's effect on the morphogenetic field, but also to forcefully, if temporarily, evolve every human into metahumans, as future evolutionary states are stored in the morphogenetic field too. Animal Man goes on to say that if 100 monkeys learn something new, all monkeys of the same species display this new behaviour, and so this change should definitely be possible, and they start constructing the machine to do so. Black Lightning is brought up as a candidate for powering the machine, but says he might not be able to do it, only for the giant Glimmer to announce, "I am power." An impassioned speech from Zor-El in Heaven inspires many of the other angels there to volunteer to return to him on Earth to offer their aid. We see Martian Manhunter was badly affected by his previous connection to the Mageddon probe, a mind meld gone wrong, but Batman still needs him to contact Superman, who is now captured and being used as a battery within Mageddon. Martian Manhunter says that Superman is being held in its thrall, within its minefield that broadcasts on the lowest frequencies: horror, shame, anger, fear, but Batman says he can handle it. Even with Martian Manhunter shielding him from full contact with Mageddon, Bruce still says that he hasn't felt like this since he saw his family dying in the gutter as a child, that he can't find Superman in all this noise, only for Martian Manhunter to reveal that the psychic noise he is feeling is Superman. Clark, Superman, is completely distraught, saying that no matter how many they save, they'll never make it, that it's too late to save the ones that most needed saving. Better to just die, to let it all die, that they can't win, when Batman reminds him that they always win. Orion tries his best to assault Mageddon's insides and is immediately overwhelmed by the structures there. Clark says even Orion is defeated. The Annihilator destroys gods. They can't win. Bruce says, "I don't care if it can destroy every god in every heaven, because it's never faced us before." Aztec steps up, sacrificing himself by activating the full reserves of what has previously been called limitless four-dimensional energy directly into its brain. Mageddon is hurt. It staggers, but the damage is minimal, buying them only a moment's reprieve. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Angels force a ceasefire by directly contacting each of the world's leaders, stopping the pressing of buttons and the giving of orders. Black Lightning's powers aren't enough to power the morphogenetic machine, and Glimmer steps in, saying, "I am power, with lightning and with chemicals, for Wonderworld, for life, I summon the armies of man. Immediately, every human on Earth is evolved, empowered, an army of 8 billion superheroes, new and old. Angels fly alongside criminals and Amazonians, but they are still no match for Mageddon. Thousands upon thousands die in moments, and Batman tells Clark that this is it, humanity's last stand, and that if Superman doesn't save them, he'll hound him through the afterlife until he begs for mercy. At this, Superman finally breaks free from Mageddon's grasp, finding a motivation, a power, a drive within himself to persevere. He's going straight to the anti-sun at Mageddon's forehead, planning to drain it dry. Bruce says he can't handle it alone, but Superman says, "You are never alone in the JLA." We see darkness envelop Superman as he turns cold. Bruce no longer hears him, and Martian Manhunter says he is gone. But then Mageddon falters. Superman has won. Doomsday is cancelled, and Batman says he always knew Superman would say that. He just didn't know when. In the events that follow on from this, Mageddon would be called a threat to all of creation, and we see a flashback calling the wars that Mageddon participated in techno-cosmic, and referring to it as one of the primordial annihilators. Mageddon would even be remembered in Rebirth, and Brainiac 5 would mention something called a Mageddon Sun, calling it a destroyer in the same breath as Darkseid, Mordru, and Imperiex. As far as I know, Mageddon has not been mentioned outside of this, but if this is but one of the super weapons created by the Old Gods, there could be more simply waiting in the wings.